So my name is Mary York, and I am the Director for Outreach and Employer Initiatives at the Texas Workforce Commission, and I have the pleasure of moderating the panel that is featuring TWC All-Stars? Yeah, TWC All-Stars and the services that they provide. You know, I kind of struggled with saying this. I don't want this to feel like an infomercial for our TWC, but we have a lot of great stuff to tell. We're not going to have any demonstrations in this infomercial, but I hope we have some great examples of ways that employers have taken advantage of the services that we have to offer, as well as ways that you can be inspired to implement these things within your business. So first, I would like to briefly introduce some of our panelists. Well, actually all of our panelists, to be fair. And so first here, we have Mahalia Baldini. And Mahalia, yes, feel free to clap at any point, yes. Interrupt me all you want. So Mahalia Baldini has over 20 years of experience in workforce development and adult education, both at the state and local level. She's been involved in the development and oversight of adult education services in Texas for 8 years, serving in her current capacity as the State Director for Adult Education and Literacy since 2020. And wow, what an interesting time to take over AEL.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, you can tell, and I hope you will notice from her remarks, all of those 20 years of experience in workforce development are put to good use for those programs. Next up, we have Desi Holmes, and this is not a contest, by the way, but Desi has been with TWC in some capacity for 40 years. Yeah. So congratulations on your service to the state. But in November 2016 is when she took over as the director for the Office of Apprenticeship. And so as part of that, she administers the state funds for TWC's apprenticeship training program, which assists industries in developing and improving registered apprenticeship and other training programs designed to provide the skilled workers that are needed in the global economy that Texas supports. And then next on our panel here we have Stephanie Huerta, and Stephanie is the Fidelity Bonding Coordinator for the state of Texas. And she works with both job seekers and employers in providing information on the benefits of using TWC's Fidelity Bond Program. She also serves as a manager over the WIOA, RICIA, and ES programs. TWC likes to use a lot of acronyms. So I apologize for all of our acronyms. In the Workforce Board Service Strategies Department. And then next to Stephanie, we have Russell Hunter, who has been with our agency since 2018. He is the manager and provides oversight on the Work Opportunity Tax Credit, or also known as the WOTC program. There you go, another acronym. And it's a federal tax benefit administered by the IRS and U.S. Department of Labor for employers who hire individuals from specified target populations. Prior to working for the state, Russell was a public educator for 15 years. And then last but not least is Christy Cavanis, and I have the pleasure of working with Christy Cavanis in Outreach and Employer Initiatives. She manages our employer engagement and community outreach team and is responsible for the Skills Development Fund, Self-Sufficiency Fund, High Demand Job Training, and Texas Industry Partnership Programs. She brings over 25 years of extensive experience in marketing, brand development and management, promotions, and corporate operations with proven leadership skills. So I'm just going to give them a round of applause up front. Stephanie, did you just do a round? Yeah. Okay. All right. See, this is y'all, we're gonna be the fun panel of the day. Everybody else was incredibly inspiring. We're going to be fun. Again, no pressure. All right. So, Mahalia, you're in the hot seat. You're closest to me, right? So
let's do this.
It's on. Okay, so we already talked about how you oversee AEL for the state, right? So when I think of AEL, I think about the benefit that an individual might receive. Like, something has happened to me, I never got my high school diploma, I had to drop out. Any of these things could happen. Multiple things could happen. So when we're talking about that benefit to individuals, we're here mostly talking about employers today. So what's the benefit of AEL to employers?
Yeah, it's a very good question and a perfect audience. So when we look at Texas, you are really thinking about the whole state. And in the whole state of Texas, we have about 2.5 million individuals that lack a high school diploma. We have about another 2 million or so that are English as a second language learners who speak English less than well. So those are things that, from an illiteracy perspective, really correlate to the impact on the employer. So there's been lots of research done on this, a lot of studies done on this, and really what is that impact of illiteracy and basic skills deficiency on employers? One of the big ones is workers' compensation claims. So when you have individuals that are working for you that maybe don't speak the language, you hand them a big stack, right, and they say, this is the safety manual. But if you can't read it, and you don't have the reading comprehension skills to really follow it, then you have potential for, large amounts of workers' compensation. And that's just something, and that's a study you kind of see all over the place. But when it comes to those individuals kind of on the job in terms of, how we individually here at the Texas Workforce Commission, we put out about $82 million annually to grants in your communities.
You can have your current employees entered into a registered apprenticeship program. So you have employees, and I assume in most instances, even with TWC, the employee does not perform, not all employees perform at the same level. You have some exceptions, and registered apprenticeship isn't going to take everybody to the exceptional level, and then you'll have outstanding individuals, but if every employer can have a good, solid employee out of everyone that they employ, their product, whether it be customer service or to actually be a molded entity, their production of that and the efficiencies and the effectiveness is going to go up, which adds to the bottom line of the company. If you can do more with less. Everybody says, let's do more with less.
Everybody says that.
Everybody says that. or do more and just take more time to do it. Hurry up. But registered apprenticeship is always worth exploring. If you need to increase your current staff, bring on the consistency of new staff. And the good thing about that, like Mahalia said, she has contracts statewide. We have staff in the state office as well as we have navigators across the state of Texas that will help any employer explore it. If you want to explore it, reach out. If you can type in Apprenticeship Texas, all one word, it'll make it to my website, our website, and we will get you with somebody that can help you explore that. If registered apprenticeship doesn't end up being what you want, I think all of us up here will tell you there's no wrong door. If you come in and you identify need, we're going to be here to help you. So if you call Mahalia and it ends up being my staff, she will tag team us. If it ends up being skills development is a better fit for you, I'll tag team with them. And then just please remember that this isn't your only exposure to us. We are actually the government, and
we're here to help.
Here to help you.
Desi, I don't know if we need the rest of the panel now. I mean, you covered a lot. Yeah, we need them all. And I love that you mentioned that there is no wrong door, and happened to mention getting in a plug for the website. That was good. That was good. But in your packets, there is a QR code on all of those inserts. If you scan that QR code, it is going to take you to a website that has information on all of those different programs, that has links to more in-depth information as well as the contact information for all of these amazing people. So I didn't want to miss the opportunity. You don't even have to type. You can just pull out your phone and scan it. So special thanks to Amy Landrum in the back of the audience for putting those together for us and making it as simple as possible. Okay, Stephanie Russell, don't be mad. I'm going to skip over you for a moment because I want to stick on the training theme and jump over to Christy. So the name of your team is Employer Engagement and Community Outreach.
EECO.
Echo. So what does that mean? What does that mean for our customers, our constituents?
Great question. So I am the manager of an outreach team that's all over the state of Texas. They are positioned in different areas in the state, and they work with a variety of businesses, economic development, corporations, chambers of commerce, community colleges, technical colleges, and the workforce development boards, and they are hands down amazing. They're the boots on the ground, and they know everything that's going on in your area, so we work very closely with them to identify those businesses that might need help with workforce training. So Skills Development Fund is the premier fund for our premier grant for the state of Texas, up to $2,000 per participant. And we can help your business or help your employees at your business get trained with customized training. The other really great program that I get to be a part of is the Self-Sufficiency Fund, and that is working to give people a step up. So we can connect businesses with the clients that we've talked about today, so that as those folks are being trained, we can help you identify where they're located and what their training has been.
Okay, thank you. So now I'm going to switch over to Stephanie. Okay, so Stephanie, we talked about you overseeing Fidelity bonding for TWC. I mean, I think I know what a bond is, but what is a Fidelity bond, and what is TWC and our Workforce Solutions partners' role in Fidelity bonding for employers?
So Fidelity bonding is a big name for a very simple process, and it's basically an insurance policy for employers. It gives them peace of mind. It also protects employers against acts of dishonesty or theft. But then on the other side, for the job seeker, it also helps connect that job seeker to employment. And we're here to talk about reentry, but we also have other certain at-risk individuals that are eligible for Fidelity bonding. And so those include disadvantaged youth, also includes those on public assistance. And if you really think about it, it's anybody who's got large gaps in their employment history that might be a barrier, that might create a barrier towards employment. So it's really a simple process. So the employer or the individual can request a Fidelity bond through their local Workforce Solutions office. As the coordinator, I like to work with the local workforce boards as well as employers to connect them, because the process is really simple. And I kind of agree that a name like Fidelity bonding makes it sound really complex, and it's really a simple process. So other benefits to employers would include there is no cost, there's no paperwork to fill out. All you've got to do is is smooth and quick. So it's really a great program. I wish I could call it simple fidelity bonding, but I'm not allowed to change the name of it because I think that might help.
I mean, could we change the name? I don't know. Yeah, marketing, it's all marketing, yeah. I want to follow up with a quick question on what you said. So this can be initiated by the job seeker or the employer?
Or the employer.
Okay.
So I have worked with several employers over the last 6 months, and so they didn't want that job seeker to have to request the bond. So they go directly to the local Workforce Solutions office. We do like to track the bonds and who we're issuing them to. So as long as we have a start date and the information about that individual, we can get that bond processed within 24 to 48 hours. And so I think that's a great tool because it eliminates having to work directly with that individual who's trying to get past, whatever their barrier is. So it's been pretty successful having employers work with us. I also had an employer reach out to me. They had 40 job vacancies that they wanted to fill at a manufacturing plant in Dallas. And so right now I'm working with them. As soon as they start working with the reentry population, that's who they're working with, we'll coordinate what office. I'll work with them on getting all of those individuals bonded as soon as they make those job offers.
That sounds amazing. It's exciting for the, yeah, so I'm going to give that a round of applause, yeah. So Russell, last but not least, okay, you work with WOTC. Pretty sure it's not the new dance craze, so tell us. It could be. Y'all don't want to see me dance. Tell us what WOTC is.
So WOTC is the Work Opportunity Tax Credit Program. It is a federal program that's administered by TWC, and it is primarily for-profit employers to get tax credits if they hire somebody from one of 14 different target groups. Now, that all seems really complicated when I start talking about 14 target groups and all the work the employer...
And taxes. Taxes sound really complicated.
Yeah. Let's just make a mess of it. But in reality, it's a very simple process. The employer, when I talk to employers, I tell them to make the 2 forms that we would require, which are the 8850 and the 9061. Those are federal forms, to make them part of their onboarding process. Once they make them part of the onboarding process, all they have to do, put them in an envelope, send them off to us. Or they can fax them, or they can email. And then we do all the work from there. The employer does not have to do any research whatsoever as to whether or not they fall under the SNAP, Justice Involved, Veterans, any of that. We do the legwork.
Is there an application fee?
No, there's no application fee. The only application fee is if you decide to use snail mail, and that's the cost of the stamp. So.
Do people still do that?
Yes. Actually, yes. We still receive applications through the mail. But yeah,
Okay. Well, so since we're on the topic of money, do you want to tell us a little bit about the amount that is available per tax credit and what that means more broadly?
Yeah, the amount of money that's available for tax credit ranges anywhere from about $1,200 for a year up to $9,600. And like I said, there's 14 target groups. The most common amount we do is $2,400. So our Justice Involved, our SNAP, TANF, Temporary Assistance for Needy Family, those programs all come in about $2,400. We have, at the very beginning I said it's for-profit employers, but in 2011 Congress passed the Vow to Hire Heroes Act, and that act allowed nonprofit employers to actually apply the credit toward Social Security wages paid. So that was a benefit for the veterans specifically. It doesn't apply to the other target groups for nonprofits.
And is there a limit on the number of employees that you can claim this credit for?
No, the only limit place is that we have to receive the application within 28 days of their start date.
Did everybody write that down? 28 days of their start date. It doesn't have to be approved within the 28 days, you just have to receive the form.
We just have to.
So maybe don't send it snail mail to make sure that they get it on time.
Well, we use postmark dates.
Ah, there you go. They've even got a solution for that. That's awesome.
Solution to that.
That's great.
But yeah, and it was interesting because when we listened to Brian talk earlier today about the justice-involved individuals, I'm a huge analyst. My boss will tell you. I do facts and figures and data. He indicated 47,000 justice-involved individuals released last year. We only issued certifications on the justice-involved target group. We only issued 8,600 of them last year, which is roughly 20%. If you look at another 20% for going back into the system, unfortunately, you're still 60%. There's about $60 million in tax credits that are not being claimed.
60 million?
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, of the 8,600 we issued last year, that would amount to about $20 million. So.
Okay, sounds like we need to get the word out. Okay, so sticking on the theme of money a little bit, Stephanie, you want to tell us a little bit more?
I will.
Okay.
So, like I mentioned, a bond, it's a 6-month insurance policy, and currently the limits starts at $5,000, and we can go up to $25,000. Also, when the bonds expire at the end of 6 months, an employer doesn't have to do a thing. It just expires and it's done. But also another option is that depending on, like new employee probationary periods. So if the employer would like to request an additional 6 months, super easy. You follow the same process, provide us that individual's name and information, and we can also reissue a bond for an additional 6 months. And while I'm talking about all that, we can also use Fidelity bonding if an individual is looking to get promoted. We talked about Mahalia talked about upskilling and moving individuals moving into management positions. If a bond will help that employer get that peace of mind to promote that individual, then let's do it. Let's issue that bond so that we can work on moving that employee up in the company. So it's really super flexible, and there's nothing that an employer really has to do other than if they choose to request the bond, and that's about it. So.
And they would do that again through one of the 28 local workforce boards, or they can contact you and you can make that connection for them.
Yes, absolutely. We do a lot of presentations. The department I'm in, we work with boards specifically, and so I do a lot of presentations. But I like to do a little bit of, I like connecting employers with the local workforce solutions offices, and I spend a lot of time talking to job seekers about how the program can get them employed, because I believe in second chances. So if anybody has any questions, or if you contact a local office and they're unable to help, I'm always available to provide that information.
Thank you. So, Desi, I think you know what I'm about to ask you next, also about money, and the amount of funding available to support apprenticeships. I know that we've recently had multiple announcements about new apprenticeship opportunities, but for your average employer that might be interested in participating in an apprenticeship program, are there funds that can help support them through that? Is it mostly technical assistance? How does that work?
Periodically, we have announcements, whether it be through RFA, another acronym, request for applications, or right now, specific to two types of industry. Healthcare, we have $15 million that's on the It can pay for clinicals for registered nurses, LVNs, and BSNs, whatever clinicals are needed. It will pay for classroom training, the instructor, supplies. And we can definitely talk about that if any of y'all are interested or are employers that are into healthcare. The other one that was released, the 15th of July, I think, is when the application went out. It's in regards to kind of automotive technicians, mechanics, supply chain, logistics type occupations. So if there's anybody that's interested in that as well, there's an application out on the street for $4 million. The cost per on that is $4,000, and it basically covers curriculum development in that one and the other items that I've mentioned prior. And definitely willing to talk to you about that because we definitely want to impact those industries. We do have some legislative money that comes to us every biennium. Hopefully the legislature will grant us this money again in future, in the next biennium. It pays for contact hours for registered apprenticeship programs. It's not a lot of money. The cost per is only like $550 to $880, so less than $1,000, but it pays for each apprentice and there's no eligibility for that particular thing. Apprenticeship is also funded through Workforce Investment and Opportunities Act. If you're on the eligible training provider list, and those individuals do have to have some eligibility. But we can work with you and discuss all of that and see if you have people that you want to hire that are into that, or if the local offices can send you individuals that you would be interested in. So not to confuse all of that, but there is funding available. Any one of us here on this stage, skills development, self-sufficiency, apprenticeship, AEL, will all work together after we identify your needs. I will say, if the commissioner was in the room, he would laugh because I always say this, we're here to help you and can try to support you, but we don't pay the total bill. There's not enough money to pay the total bill for all employers, but your identified needs, we'll try to prioritize those and then see what we can do to assist you in your mission of developing your best workforce. The commissioner walked in.
Right when did he know you were talking about him? Okay, same question for you, Mahalia. In terms of the funding that might be able to, and maybe it doesn't even go directly to the employers, but that can impact employers through AEL. Can you describe that a little bit?
Sure. So I kind of mentioned in my opening comments, the way that our funds work is through, we get money from the feds, of course, it passes through us. We do have to put those out in something called a request for applications. So there are community colleges, ISDs, non-profit CBOs, educational service centers out there that apply for this funding. And usually it's about $80 million a year for a 5-year grant. So you're looking at, if I'm doing my math, $400 and something million every 5 years. So these are funds that are, once they are awarded, are kind of out there in the community. And then when you're looking at those funds in terms of the services, you know, the good thing, and I always kind of like being up here with my counterparts, because adult education supports all of these programs. Because if you go back to those original numbers and you think about just the mass of people that we have that would be eligible for those services, they're working for you guys. They're already there. And these services are out there. So we'd love to be able to have an opportunity to bring those services to you. You know, we've been talking about warm handoffs all day. We've been talking about the importance of really taking that step and getting those services, you know, very clearly for the individuals that need them. So no better than to have them on site. But that's kind of just the money that I think is out there. I said earlier it's at no cost to the employers, but I will say this. Employer buy-in is extremely important in all of these programs, I would think, but particularly for ours, because invest in their employees and say, hey, I'm seeing you as a person first, an employee second. I want to invest in your language skills. I want to invest in you getting your GED. I want to invest in you getting some sort of credential of value that's going to support you in your career growth. And hopefully that's, with you. But that type of investment from you guys is, I think, very important to make all of these programs kind of stick. And it's retention. And in the market that we're in, you want to retain those employees because you're putting so much into them, I think, initially. So programs like adult education can help to support those retention efforts.
So, Mahalia, you mentioned, in terms of being on this panel, but other times y'all are presenting together and kind of working together. These programs can be used in conjunction with one another, right? I mean, does somebody want to speak to that?
Yeah.
Russell, yeah.
One of the things we learned, Stephanie and I, we've been doing some presentations to local workforce agencies, the forum and everything else, and we really identified how our two programs especially are very much in conjunction with the Fidelity bonds and the justice-involved individuals or the individuals on public assistance, and how they really tie in really well together in order to assist both the job seeker and the employer in getting these people the self-confidence and everything else they need in order to be productive in society, which is ultimately what they want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead. Desi, were you going to tack onto that?
Kind of.
You can just take it and run with it. Just go.
The one partner that we don't have on the stage with us today, and I would assume that individuals that are coming out of the system, we forget about, we don't, but sometimes vocational rehabilitation is forgotten about. So individuals coming out of the system sometimes could take advantage of those services as well because it's accommodating. Is Melinda in the room? I know
She was in the back of the room earlier, but she might be out at the table.
Melinda Panixky is here, and I tag her a lot when we're talking about registered apprenticeship and the benefits to employers. And the other thing I'd like to, I'm not supposed to be VR, but I can't help myself.
I told you to take it and run with it and go. Yeah.
The vocational rehabilitation, the other thing that can happen for employers is if you have an employee that's been with you a long time, like I've been with TWC for 40 years, they haven't had to accommodate me yet, but at some point they might have to if I fall off of this stool.
Desi has to, you have to accommodate the rest of us.
If you have an employee, a current employee that needs an accommodation, reach out. Like I say, we can't do everything, and Melinda would be a great resource for you.
Do you want to stand up, Melinda, so they can know who to find after? Okay.
To keep your employees and accommodate them and keep them productive in your company and keep their longevity with your company. So even though that all of us and all the services that TWC offer is not here, you have a group of individuals on the stage that have a network within our system, and we're here to help you.
Oh, Russell wants to go again.
Vocational rehab is one of our target groups.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah.
Full circle.
Full circle. Again, I don't think it can be stressed enough that there is no wrong door. If you are an employer who needs services, if you're an individual who needs services, reach out to TWC. It can be any of these people. It can be, a contact through vocational rehabilitation. It can be somebody else within TWC. And it is our job to get you to the right person that can help address your questions, your needs, and hopefully tailor a solution that is going to work best for you and your workforce. Not all of these programs are a fit for everybody, right? And I will be the first to say, government is not the answer for everything, which is why y'all do such a great job in being private business owners, right? If your company was entrusted to the government, probably wouldn't do nearly as well as the way you run it. But we have some fantastic things that can support what you're doing, and that's what we're here to do, is we are here to support you in your success and support your employees, especially those who are coming in having faced circumstances that, altered the course of their lives. We want to help them with that step up, change the trajectory, and make a difference. And I know that that's what y'all want to do too, because that's why y'all are here today. So, Desi wants to talk again. Yes. Somebody take away her microphone.
You don't want me to talk.
Mahalia, grab it. No.
Another ring out to, or shout out to Vocational Rehabilitation. Sometimes you don't always know what a disability is. Disability can be something, and I'm going to use the word simple for lack of a better term, as simple as being drug addiction. So it's not maybe a physical disability, but talk to the experts, and Melinda can get us there, or we'll get you to Melinda to discuss those types of things to help you. Again, a really great point though, because I think one of the things we heard in Misty's video at the beginning was even just touching on post-traumatic stress disorder, and that might be a situation that would qualify an individual for vocational rehabilitation services. So we want to help step in and provide that assistance, because I think what we heard from the first panel is they're all in, but it takes some work. It takes some work to be all in, and we want to be here to help support you through that work. Okay, now Stephanie.
Yeah, I wanted to bring it back to Fidelity bonding for a second because
It's all about you, isn't it?
it's all about
Okay.
me today.
She does.
I'll be signing autographs. We talked about some of those eligible, and just to continue on, those that have a substance abuse history are also eligible for Fidelity bonding. Dishonorably discharged veterans, so we cast a pretty wide net with Fidelity bonding. And when you layer it with everything that we've talked about today, the end goal is to get the individual employed. So once they go through their different training programs, Fidelity bonding will get them to that next step. So I missed those two at-risk groups, and I just wanted to say that it's, again, super simple. I keep saying simple, but certainly if you have any questions, if a particular individual has a barrier and you're unsure, please, reach out to me and we can certainly work that out. So.
Thank you for that. Okay, I want to leave a few minutes for questions, and I see our time sort of ticking down away from us. But sort of final question for everyone. Before we leave the stage today, are there any common misconceptions, things that people frequently think about your programs that you want to take this opportunity to clear up, get the word out? There doesn't have to be anything, but I'd love to hear from you.
I'm going to start before Desi can go because
Yes.
she'll steal my language. So several years ago, so the first thing is I would say this isn't, when you think about adult educational literacy, I'm just going to say this isn't your granddad's GED program. And I'm going to rattle off a long list of services that we provide in adult education I think a lot of people don't think about. The ones that you know about, like high school equivalency, English as a second language. We also do corrections education. We also do transition to post-release, which is our reentry services. We do digital literacy. We do financial literacy. We do family literacy. We do workplace literacy. And we have this little program called an integrated education and training program. And that's for individuals that may not be college ready, but want to go to college. And we're going to support them while they are in college so that they can get the reading, writing, and math that they need to be successful in those programs. There's nothing worse than going through a CDL program. You can drive a truck all day long. You go to take your exam and you can't pass a written exam. And that happens
mine short. First of all, I'm going to go back to the government, and everybody says, I'm going to register my program. It's your program, and if the day after you register you decided you don't want to do it anymore, all you have to do is say cancel it. And they're no longer in your business. So it's really something there to help you, as long as you want it. At the point you don't want it or you don't think you need it, you can cancel it. No harm, no foul. The other thing, I know we gave you a fancy QR code to reach some of the information. I know everybody doesn't like those, or some of them want a piece of paper. Sometimes that's me. I did bring a limited number of folders that gives you some more reference material about registered apprenticeship and some additional business cards. So I'll stick around for a few minutes after they shut me up, and I'll give you some paper if you really want to read a piece of paper.
And you can get her autograph at the same time.
Sure. And in closing, I'll say it for myself, and I'm sure it's everybody. We appreciate your attention and you attending, and we want you to reach out, so please do.
And I just had one last thing to add. So in 2019, TWC was awarded a re-entry Fidelity bonding grant from the Department of Labor. That gave us funding for an additional 850 bonds. So I'm ready and willing and able to connect employers with our local workforce solutions offices so we can get these bonds issued and get our reentry population employed. So again, call me.
She brought her checkbook with her. No.
So, as I mentioned earlier, the biggest issue WOTC has is, it's a difficult program, or I've even heard, I didn't know it existed anymore. Well, we still exist. We're funded at least through 2025 right now. Last calendar year, we issued out $516 million in potential tax certificates within the state of Texas. So, making it part of your onboarding process with the 2 forms and dropping them in the mail, life is easy. It's not a difficult program to operate.
Cool. Anything from you, Christy?
A couple of things. We've said the word investment or invest a lot today, and I think that from an employer standpoint, invest in your employees one way or another, either with upskill training or any of the other services that TWC offers. And the other overwhelming thing we keep hearing is, we have money. There's money available. We want to work with you, and we would love to help you receive those dollars. And I also want to make a plug for out there. There are some tables with some great folks who want to talk to you with additional information. So if you would please make sure you talk to them out there. Okay.
Great. All right. So we have just a few more minutes left. If anyone has any questions, I think we do have a microphone set up here, but we can come to you if we need to. Oh, hello. Carla. And she's not a plant. I didn't tell her.
No. Hi, good afternoon. My name is Carla Lariva. I'm the Assistant Director of BRE and Workforce Development for the Greater Brownsville and Census Corporation in South Texas. So it's not a question, it's more like a testimony. And of course, I didn't get in touch with Mary before this, right? So I would say last year, we're very grateful for the great partnership that we have with TWC, Commissioner Alvarez, Commissioner Demerson, TWC staff. It has been an amazing journey. In the last year, we were able to secure $2.5 million in training dollars for Brownsville. So those dollars were able to assist different companies in aerospace, manufacturing, shipbreaking, and medical. So that was very, very impressive. Just to give some numbers out there, because I do love data, we were able to help train over 5,000 individuals, not only in Brownsville, but in Cameron County. So of course, we're in economic development, so for us, it's, helping our community, helping Brownsville advance, the interests of Brownsville, right? And help these employers get ahead and, support their mission, support their company. So I just wanted to say thank you commissioners, for everything that you do. TWC staff, it's been a great journey, and we're looking forward to continue this partnership. Thank you.
Congratulations. Any other questions or comments for the panel?
On your WOTC, how long does the individual have to be employed with an employer to be able to qualify for the reimbursement or for the tax break?
Yeah, there are a certain number of hours, and so based on the number of hours they work, you can claim part of the credit. So it's tiered.
So it's tiered. Is that information on the website?
Yeah, it's on our website. If you go to WOTC, TWC, it's right there.
And then I got a question on the Fidelity bonding also. You mentioned that it could be used for upskilling or promoting.
Yes.
Does that mean that the individual initially has to use the Fidelity bonding? Or could it be for an existing already employee that's already employed with that employer and they're considered upskilling or promoting?
There is no prerequisite, so if the individual was, entered into the company entry level and the employer didn't request a Fidelity bond, but to get that promotion to move up, and that wouldn't be an issue at all. So we can get that individual bonded to get the promotion.
Okay, anything else? Those were great questions, by the way. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Giovanni, and I'm the Community Outreach and Awareness Specialist for Region 3 for Voc Rehab. And so thank you all for talking about Voc Rehab. In everybody's packet, there's a section that says Voc Rehab, so please take a look at that section. Melinda is wonderful from state office, and she can get you to anybody that you need to, but our agency is divided into 6 regions, and each of our 6 regions has 2 individuals that are business relations coordinators and 1 community outreach and awareness specialist. We're all here to work with businesses and try to help you with employees that you have that might need Voc Rehab services. So job saves, things like that, accommodations.
Thank you for bringing that up. So more people to hold hands, walk you through it right there on the regional level, as are our 28 workforce boards throughout the state who do a fantastic job. Okay, any other questions? I'm on the red number countdown up here, so, but if there's any other things. No?
Last comment?
Oh, damn it, who gave her that mic again?
I would like to invite any of y'all in the room, if you haven't already registered, we're having our Apprenticeship Texas Conference in McAllen, September 22nd and 23rd, and it's going to be all about registered apprenticeship and how local areas and local employers are, the how and why they develop their program and the successes that they're having. I'm giving the microphone away for the last time.
She's our closer. Yeah, she did a great job. All right, thanks to the entire panel.